Murder.
Chalk outlines.
DNA tests.
Blood.
Anonymous tip.
Beheadings and disembowelments.
Fingerprints.
The yellow tape that they have on crime scenes.
Witness statements.
Stakeouts with my cop friend and we drink coffee. UV lights that they can see on. 5 minutes.
Yes, this is going to be another true crime episode in about 5 minutes, although last week's was so long that it's the first ever two-parter.
I'm so sorry. Can I give a recap before we start the clock? Don't start the clock, Ben.
You've already got a part two. You don't get more time.
Well, okay, so I don't even do a recap? All
Why
right.
did you need to do a recap?
Because if you
Reading
waited
into the
a-
time.
Why would someone star on part two? That's madness.
Okay. So we're talking Peter and Joanne in the middle of the Northern Territory desert. The
Sounds like
real
a
story
recap to me.
You're a captain.
Okay, so where we got up to last week is Joanne has flagged down a big truckie and she's managed to escape Bradley Murdoch, who was trying to kill her. So this is about midnight at this point. Like I said, still freezing temperatures. The truckie takes her to the local pub. They are then able to call the police and get help. The police took 4 hours to get to her. So it was 4 a.m. by the time they got there because they were coming from Alice Springs. So they took 4 hours. They finally get there. She's been waiting this whole time. She doesn't know where her partner is. So obviously they turn to like the media. They start trying to find, hey, this is what we think the car looks like. This is what Peter looks like. And she, Joanne, gave as best she could description of Bradley Murdoch. She said, look, he's a white man, long face, very tall.
They had no photos of him?
No.
Oh, sorry, of the murderer.
Yes.
Oh, right,
yes.
even of the partner.
No. So she's like, tall man, long face, white guy. And everyone's like, well, that's just the most vague description you can ever give. So she started getting a lot of crap from the media because they were like, well, you're not giving a lot of detail. You don't know where your partner is. Is this even true? How did you manage to escape the bush and he didn't come after you? People started picking holes in her story. There was actually a rumor going that Peter had faked his own death and that he was actually living somewhere else because he did have a few like money troubles and tax issues. So there was a rumor going around, well, this girl's like got no memory of what happened and we think it's all just BS.
Yeah, right.
Meantime, she's freaking out, obviously. She flew back to the UK, which she also got flack for because they were like, well, you're just going home. So she wasn't looking good at this point. But in saying that, the police kept going, trying to find who this supposed man is that came and handcuffed her and shot her partner. So fast forward to like a good year later, they had like a list of suspected people that drove the car that she'd said, which was just a white ute. At this point, Bradley Murdoch had actually changed the way he looked. He'd changed his car completely. Remember I said he usually changed the car?
Yeah.
He'd changed everything about it, the wheels, the bumper, the colour of the canopy, everything. They actually even spoke to him and went to his house and ruled him out and said, nah, can't be him. He refused to do a police lineup and they still ruled him off and said, nah, it's not him. He's all right. So he keeps living his life for like another year. Finally, the way that they actually caught him was one of his mates came forward and said, I think that's my mate Brad, who is a bit of a weirdo and always talked about how if he killed someone, where he'd hide a body in the desert, and showed us how to make homemade zip tie handcuffs. So it was just a tip-off from a friend that actually pointed to Bradley Murdoch. So finally the police were like, all right, well, maybe it is this guy, but didn't want to like actually have him know that they were after him. So what they did was they got his brother Gary, who didn't speak to Bradley and actually hated him. They went to Gary and said, hey, we think Bradley might be in trouble. Can you give us some DNA? He did. They put that DNA with some of the DNA they found on Joanne and in the combi van, and it matched as a sibling.
Yeah, wow.
So then they were like, right, it is him. They tried to track him down. He'd completely disappeared at this point. They found him in Adelaide in South Australia and arrested him there. They did a DNA test at the police station. It was a complete match.
Whoa.
Yep. Then all went to court. He kept denying it and saying that he hadn't done it. There were even witnesses that came forward and said, yeah, we think we've seen Peter, the partner, we think we've seen him in Sydney. So then his defence were using that, saying, nah, he did fake his own death. This whole time, Bradley Murdoch's saying, nah, I'm a good guy. I would never do that. I would never do that. Finally, they said, right, well, the DNA matches. It has to be you. he was ruled guilty. He was only given 28 years in prison. Now, this was 2005, which means he's still in prison now, and he would actually be eligible for parole in 2033, which is not that far away.
Not too long away. Yeah,
saddest
no
thing-
road trips that year.
The saddest thing is that he has never said, because he denies it, he's never said where Peter is. And
I mean,
what
if
he
it's
did
a
with his body.
complete DNA match, it's like it's yeah.
Oh,
He
totally.
obviously did
And
it. Like,
and
it's-
sorry,
he's
and
guilty as
also
sin.
they did a lineup of photos, and Joanne said that's the guy
Yeah,
as
right.
well. So it's really disappointing because Peter, so Bradley Murdoch's mate said, he said if he ever killed anyone,
Yeah.
he'd put them like in the desert in a drain, and there's nothing that's ever been found. So
wow.
it's sad, and like Joanne's back in the UK, obviously just had to keep going on with her life, and yeah. But anyway, so that's the other half of what Wolf
That's
Creek is
a
based on.
great part 2.
Mm.
I wish you could see the flinch that sort of.
It's so loud.
Well,
Why do we have to
Ben
be the
and I are
buzzer so
chilling.
loud?
Like I expect it.
Yeah.
In fact, I expected it just about on the 5-minute mark. I know
Oh,
it will
yeah.
come. And Belle, you act like it. There is a
not-
road train coming
I'm
behind
always
you.
on edge. You know that.
Well, that's true.
All right.
Yes.
See ya.
Well, there you go.
And that's it!
Like that podcast? There's heaps more to listen to if you just scroll back or download the Nova Player app.
Ben, Liam, and Belle.